me we're going to have trouble making payroll this month. Now, we had already passed 2 levies, so the problem was fixable. Kimball said that he only had a $100,000 carryover, and he said we have to move some money, which we're allowed to move. So another $300,000 was added to it, so there was a total of $400,000 carryover at that point in time. We were able to meet the payroll and get through that, and it gave a chance for the money to start to come in from the 2 levies that were passed. One, of course, you're aware of, was for roads, and the other was for safety forces. In addition to having that kind of a rough start, but Kimball and I got together, and he's a very conservative Republican, and I'm listed as a Democrat, but I think I'm an independent with that. But he and I had a ball trying to bring the city out of these kind of financial straits. In addition to not having money to start with, we also lost our bond rating, and we did not have the ability to borrow money. Once you drop out of the A category, there's very few people that are willing to work with you. And it took us, I think, 4 years to get the bond company to make an adjustment with it. We had funded the area that's up behind Sheets. There was a new highway put in up there, another exit, and all of the people that were in that conglomerate were supposed to pay for it, which they did. The problem was we couldn't even go to the people. We could not get them to allow us to do that, and we ultimately had to use the water department. And this was, keep in mind, this was money somebody else was paying, but they still wouldn't let us fund it through them. So we ended up funding that through the water department, which they got paid and they got interest back. But it was a kind of a red letter day when we got our A bond status back. And ever since then, we've had good reviews. In fact, one year we got 2 jumps in it, which the gal that's been doing this with us forever says she's never seen 2 jumps at one time because they're very conservative. But our bond rating now is A1. And this is something that we have to keep in mind, that we have to protect this. And you can recall conversations that we had about that prior to this. The other thing that was helpful is that we are self-insured for health care. Partially. We also, of course, work with Medical Mutual with that. We've been very fortunate that over the times that we have here, that what we budget for that, we have never had to go beyond that. In fact, we didn't come close to it. And that's basically because of health programs that we're running, and the people that work for the city, generally speaking, show up for work pretty regularly. And they don't have serious problems with it. As an example, our rating this last time was 0.6, and that was actually high. For 1 year, we actually got money back, and we passed that out. For our employees, when we were in the union bargaining with that, we cut back what they had to pay so that they also shared in the effort for people to be at work with that. So we've been very fortunate with that, and that's also helped to help us keep a carryover for that. The part of what I'm going to read to you now is from the finance department with Mr. Huff and Tammy, what they have submitted based on this particular area. The general fund continued its growth trajectory in 2024 with income tax receipts once again exceeding those budgeted and in the prior year. The city's annual income tax revenues set a new all-time high, finishing over $13.3 million. I can remember Kimball celebrating when we broke 10 at that point in time. In comparison to 2024 to 2023, shows that the city's total income tax receipts were up by $367,218, contributing to the general fund balance increasing $603,012 to 12 over the previous year's balance. As in prior years, general fund expenses for the 2024 remain well managed and finished favorably compared to the budget. Total annual expenses were at $9.1 million, well below the budgeted amount of $10.6. This $1.5 million favorable variance is attributable to a variety of factors of continuing efficiencies in management, ensuring that the annual budget reflects conservative and responsible planning. We do that regularly. We talk about it almost every day. Where are we at? What can we count on? We continue to maintain the self-insured health care claims costs below the projections for the year. The city's annual cost of health care has finished favorably again in 2024. As noted in the past, the city is self-insured and annual budgets for health care costs are based on an actuarially calculated maximum liability exposure. As a result of these efforts, 2024 finished with 8.16 general fund cash balance after encumbrances. In comparison to 2023, when the close was for $7.56 million. This year-to-year surplus of $603,212. So it's a daily thing that we have to do to keep track of this, and we are conservative in our manipulations. I had one gentleman who came in to see me one day, and he says, "You know, you're a blue dog." I said, "What's a blue dog?" He says, "It's a Democrat who's responsible with money." And I looked it up. You Google it. It's there with that. I have to blame the training for that from my side on my grandparents. they were good role models for me, and we lived with them for quite a while when my father passed away. The police department is the next group. The patrol division is the largest one in the department, with 18 members who are full-time sworn peace officers. Its primary responsibilities is to respond to calls for services from the community, keeping our roadways safe, and locating and arresting violators of the law. These uniformed officers are dedicated to patrolling duties and are first responders to all emergencies and calls for service from the community. The patrol is divided into two shifts. What the police department is overall responsible for, it's quite a lot. The communications, the Ravenna Communications Center is staffed by 10 full-time dispatchers, 1 part-time dispatcher, and 1 full-time dispatch coordinator. And each member is certified by a PowerPhone, and that is a certificate that they have, that they've all earned it. The Ravenna Police Department's dispatcher centers provide public safety dispatches for 9 communities in Portage County. The dispatch center is an average annual call volume of 23,000 calls, equating to approximately 63 calls per day. In 2024, the dispatch center handled 24,288 calls for service, reflecting a slight increase from 22,675 call recorded for 2023. The communities that we work with on this are Charleston, Deerfield, Edinburgh, Marlborough Township, Palmyra, Paris, Ravenna City, Richtown, and Windham. Our dispatch center is fully compliant with the Ohio 9/11 Compliance Agency. The Detective Bureau primarily works during daytime hours, but remain on call 24/7. Uniformed patrol officers thoroughly investigate reported offenses when practical. However, detectives will conduct secondary investigations when additional time or expertise is required. The Detective Bureau is comprised of 1 supervisor and 2 full-time detectives and 1 part-time. The Detective Bureau manages close to 1,200 pieces of new evidence each year. They maintain the storage and disposition over 10,000 pieces of evidence at any given time. The Ravenna Police Department of Records Division is responsible for maintaining all records produced by the Ravenna Police Department. The division is staffed by 1 administrative assistant. That's Mr. Fields. He also has the responsibility for maintaining an efficient filing system and coding and processing invoices on accounts payable. Now, that is a newly funded position. There was an administrative assistant hired for the police department and 1 for the fire department. that would take place in 2024. In addition to these things, they are also responsible, I'm talking about the police in general, for the Portage County Drug Task Force, the Metropolitan SWAT Group. The Metropolitan SWAT was activated 28 times in 2024. The organization has specialized units, negotiators, precision rifles, explosive energy, and medical people on hand. Each tactical member trains 22 days per year in advance, and to date there are 54 team members. And this is a group that's come together of the cities and has formed their own unit with this. We also have the K-9 unit. The Ravenna Police Department currently has 3 K-9s and 3 handlers. The K-9s are a valuable resource and asset to the department and the community. 2 Ravenna Police PD K-9s are full-service dogs from drug detection, tracking, and suspect apprehension. One of the fully certified is a fully certified therapy dog, and that's Tucker. Tucker was on stage last week. He played the part of Sandy in the Annie thing at the high school. So he's our movie star also at this point in time. Let's see. I think we're good there. There is a crisis intervention team, and I'm not covering everything. I'm giving you quickly the school resource officer, and this is something that we've done with the schools here in Ravenna for it's many a year now. Steve Lincoln is the officer that is there, and the schools depend on this, and it's a connection for us to communicate with the schools. And I'll talk more about that later on. And of course, we still have some school crossing guards. Now, all of this hands up. You're the lucky winner right now as our temporary chief at this point in time, but you're responsible for all this stuff. And it's not always known how much they have to take on. There's still more in these. I did not highlight all of it to cover, but the one that we have is the body worn cameras, and I'll tell you, they're worth the money, and they're worth it. They have to be on. Our people have them on, and when we get police complaints, the first place we go is to the body, to that camera, because the stories need to jive with what the camera's putting out, and quite often they're not with that. So the cameras really act as more than one protection for our police people. Okay. The next department is the Ravenna Fire Department. They respond to 3,542 incidents in 2024. Approximately 80% of these incidents were emergency medical service response. In the city of Ravenna, we have had 691 fire-related incidents, Of these, 57 were structure fire-related incidents. The personnel in 2024, with the approval of funding, the Ravenna Fire Department was able to hire 3 additional personnel to the staff levels. This increase staffing allow each shift to go from 6-member crews to 7-member crews. Even with the allowance of time off, each shift will run on a regular basis with no less than 5 personnel daily. When we were broke, we were running with 4, and we did that for quite a while. But one of the things we promised with the support at that time, people were not getting raises, but we promised them that we would restore them back to where they were before we had the financial crisis. And we worked on doing it. It took us a couple of years to get it done. But these 3 new firemen were in addition to what is going on. The fire department staffing: 1 chief, 3 captains, 3 lieutenants, 15 firefighters, and 1 fire safety inspector, and 1 administrative assistant. The certifications that they've gotten, I think this is important that you know that our firefighters are constantly under training. 23 full-time firefighters and paramedics. This is the certifications that they have. 11 state certified fire safety inspectors. 23 certified hazardous materials operations level personnel. 2 Portage County hazard material team members. 4 fire investigators. 5 state certified fire instructors. 5 state certified EMS instructors. 5 members of the Portage County dive team. 2 members of the Portage County USAR team. 2 members of the Portage County hazmat team. So these folks are being trained to do a lot. We do a lot of the education with our own people, and you see them training constantly with that. And she's giving me the high sign. I got a lot left here, folks. The capital purchases, cotton load system, and you recall when we approved that, and that was to help with not having the firemen getting injured trying to lift too much weight at one time. And those turned out to be really useful pieces of equipment. Radio communications upgrade, which is currently on order, and 8 sets of turnout gear. These were for capital improvements at that point in time. The accomplishments: increased staffing level to 7 personnel per shift. First increase in staffing in over 30 years. And what that increase is, we were never above 6, and this put us up to that figure. Had 100% participation in the city wellness program for health insurance. Had 100% participation in pre-cancer screening and blood testing for all departments. Complete over 100 fire safety inspections. Complete hydrant flushing and maintenance to all of the city location hydrants. provide fire safety education for seniors in local schools, conduct 100 hours of live fire training to meet ISO requirements. Senior firefighters have entered leadership classes and obtained certification in leadership and officer development. All line officers have completed Fire Officer 1 and or Fire Officer 2 training. Every member of the department is recertified in CPR, advanced cardiac life support, and pediatric advantages. I'm going to try and condense some of this because I did one of these that went for an hour and 45 minutes, and we're not doing that tonight with that. The next department is the Building and Engineering Department, and what they've worked on. It's a busy group, and they manage $9.2 million in construction projects, of which approximately 40% were grant funded. Sidewalk paving and sidewalks. I think you're well aware of the big project that we had last year of doing Main Street, which was a big deal because until we did the Main Street paving, and nobody thought we paved anywhere else up to that point in time. So we were glad to get that taken care of. I don't know, has any of you seen any potholes this summer or this winter? Overall, our paving program is working out very well with that. I'm going to condense this and give you the highlights. Last year, with the two very violent storms that we had, where it just parked over us, and it tested our storm sewer system, which we're finding out is old and needs some help. This is not something that can be fixed quickly, but we have already started working on it, and there's a number of things that Mr. Finney has done putting this stuff together along with the other people. But one of the new projects is at Chestnut Street, and I just signed paperwork for that today to get that started. But they're going to be running another line from Chestnut Street to the wastewater treatment plant out to that area to help take the burden off the rest of the system. Now, that's not an all okay answer on that. That's the beginning. He's done a number of other things and continually searching for grant money, which he's been very successful with getting. I should have done a disclaimer to begin with. All of the stuff that I'm talking about off of the reports from the various department heads should be online or will be by the end of the week. I think a lot of it's been posted already, and you can look at these to go into more in depth to see what the various departments are doing. But one of the things that I was surprised when you look at it, these departments are interrelated and they have to work with each other to be successful. And we have been blessed with very good employees. I am amazed daily. The fact that we don't use up all of our money that we put aside for health care. They are very, by and large, very responsible And I was out for quite a while. I don't believe the city missed a beat with that. We just have. I'm very proud of the employees that we have, and that's a strong asset for us. I think I'll move on just a little bit quicker here. This has something to do with what you guys talked about tonight, and this is Jonathan Bender's what he has submitted with this. The employee handbook revision. I collaborated with HR to modernize the employee handbook, incorporating updates, policies on cell phone use, proper data handling, asset retirement. These revisions help ensure compliance and improve overall IT security. Jonathan was hired last year, the year that we're talking about. He was an employee of the group that was handling IP with that. We did have to pull some strings to get him hired, but council was having a lot of input into what we did with this, where they felt that we needed now to wean ourselves away from a complete company to get somebody that is here and working for us. And we're keeping it pretty much within what the regular cost would have been either way, but we're down playing the business, although Jonathan still wanted a connection with them on some things that they will be helpful. And that's what we've agreed to, but he takes over more and more as we proceed along. The Windows update system, and all of you that are involved with that, the one is going to be obsolete and not get service for, so you have to move on. The cybersecurity program implemented, we initiated a citywide participation in the PIPE project portal, ensuring compliance with insurance and government regulations. Departmental cooperation has been outstanding in getting employees up to date. And once again, this just is a symbol of what I said. Our folks are anxious to do the right thing. Password management system has been implemented on all top level staff, enhancing security and ensuring seamlessness access to transfer during staff changes. A waste and recycling policy to address confusion about the disposal of city-owned electronic assets. I work with council to develop a clear electronic recycling and waste policy. This approach prioritizes security while allowing the city to regroup the value where possible. This is the stuff that wears out and is stuck in the closet. He wants to find a way to get rid of that. And unfortunately, you cannot bring your stuff in here and have him do that for you. I think there's laws about that. But at any rate, he's worked with that. In addition to that, he has telecommunication cost savings. We partnered with Spyglass to audit energy service, telephone billing alongside finance. As a result, we transitioned to a new provider and achieved an annual savings of over $30,000. Standard operating procedures for city progress throughout various renewals and proposals. I focused on documenting critical IT processes. Establishing these SOPs will ensure consistency and continuity, addressing gaps that arose when quality IP lacked the staffing to maintain the updated records. Firewall replacement and network. He was doing that, and for the little bit of time he's been with us, he's made a big difference. We can get service promptly with that, and he's happy to be here, which we're thrilled with that because he was here before, and a lot of the police stuff that's very private over there, he knows how to work with the police department and get those things taken care of. I'm combining anything that has to do with water, which is the first of all the service department, the street department, the wastewater treatment plant, and the water treatment plant, and then the utility billings with that. First of all, the street department is, as you're well aware of, and people are already starting. They can't wait for the leaf pickup to begin at this point in time, and the grass and those sorts of things, which I have seen them out and starting to do some of this stuff. But they did. Let me skip over that. You know all the basic things that they're doing. This department has, I think, really improved over the past year and a half. And once again, the people that we have are very willing workers. Just to tell you a testament to that, I'll just isolate this for Mr. Bergant. They did that, as you're aware, we've had the assessment of the problem. It's not problems. It's time to start thinking about renewing a lot of the equipment that are in the wastewater treatment plant and in the water plant. And we have two very good department heads there. Bill Bergant was in the office out here. They had a meeting scheduled, and he brought a gentleman with him who works for CT, and it was part of the evaluation. And Bill had to walk away to go into the room, and the guy, he and I were chatting, and he said, "Well, don't tell Bill this," and I think that he meant that facetiously. But he says, "I go to places all across the country. And I have never seen a place that's as well managed and run as what you have in Bill Bergant and his crew. They are dedicated, they're proactive and addressing things before they become a problem. And for a gentleman like that to get around, stop, and he didn't have to tell me that, I was very proud. And we've got other people that are doing the same things, and they're doing good work. Okay. I am elaborating quite a bit here, but that you can get this online. I think some of the comments that when you're talking about getting to people, Mr. Reynolds, and submitting about the utility billing. He says, in many ways, the billing department is one of the most visible and front-facing departments in to our residents. And on a monthly basis, is the only department. Let me see. I'm trying to condense this too much. They have 10% of the city. He comes in and pays her bill directly. And they have a relationship. They enjoy coming. He says now he gets his share of problems. There's no doubt about that. but he's looking at the upside of this. That's one way of having some communications with this. The other things that he has pointed out that he is responsible for is the efficiency of the new meter system. It's 99% functional, and that's unreal. And they get data back every day off of all of the machines. And he calls people up if they look like there's excessive use, because it can be a leaky toilet or it can be a frozen line. But they are really putting that to work. And this group, and I don't mean to downplay by stopping this with that, but you do have access to the resources for that. From Parks and Recreation, it's impressive because of the increases that they've had over this past year. Staff-wise, they have a director, a program supervisor, a park supervisor, assistant park supervisor, and a program coordinator. They added 2 new things, family line dancing and adaptive cardio. They've been able to maintain all the programming that was there before, and it continues to increase. Overall, they have a 10% increase in use with this. The events, and I don't know how many of you had a chance. I stopped up to see the extravaganza on Saturday, and they had a great turnout as usual for that. They continue to the Marlene walk that is done around St. Patrick's Day usually, and the Halloween drive-through trick or treat. But however, this year, in partnering with the Reed Memorial Library, they had the summer celebration, and they had the largest crowd known to visit City Park. It was estimated at between 4,800 and 5,000 people who attended this free event, which features hay rides, petting zoos, face painting, digging for gold, and square dancing. This partnership brought a spotlight to Ravenna and the entire community, which it's outstanding to be able to get that many people to attend an event, and it was partnering, and that's what we need to do with a lot of our things. Okay. I've covered most of that with this. The only other things I have, or some of the things that we have, are hallmarks of the past year. The new water tower is underway. There's always a story with the water tower, and the other group that I have on here is LG Chem, the Korean group. They share nearly the same space out there. The water tower is well on its way. Mr. Finney had to make some sorts of arrangements there to be able to get the clearance that we needed for also electrical lines that had to come through there for the Korean project. The completion date for the water tower, and keep in mind we put a lot of our money that we got from the government last year we put it towards the cost of this water tower. The completion date is supposed to be October 24th of 2025. So that'll be the next fall is when we expect that to be up and running. The LG Chem experience, they had their open house in the summer, and it was by invitation only. And I think that Mr. West, who's our person that keeps track of growth and enticing people to the community, he spent a lot of time working with the group of Koreans, and they turned over regularly. They have the way they function. There's a certain group that comes in and sets up and buys a property. The next group comes in and develops it, and the next group is the one that are going to be there running the operation with that. It's changed the look of the whole area out there. When you look from the road, it's a sign of good growth for us with that. They put up 2 buildings, one for research and one for production. The open house, I have to tell you, there were the 3 of us that went to that, Mr. Finney and Mr. West and myself, and they treated us like royalty. And it was a pleasure. And we had a bit of a problem. We were worried about there not being electricity enough to operate there, and we could not get a response from First Energy. So Mr. West wrote a letter, and I signed it, and we sent it to the head of the operations. We didn't hear anything back. We didn't hear anything back. And then I was listening to the television one morning, and they said that he had quit. So that's why I didn't get a response from him. So we got together with Mr. West, and he says, well, let's send it to the governor. So we sent a letter to the governor, and 3 days later I had 3 people in the office to help us through our problem with that. And we continued to ride herd on it, but we appreciated the quick response, and we sold that to us that this is our chip center. What you want there, and guess what? Ours is up and running, and they don't even know if it's going to last with that. But this has been a great group to come into our area, and we helped them any way we could, and we promised them that we would never hold them up, and that's why it was critical to get the governor to say something with that. The other thing was done rather quietly, and that's the Ravenna-Rootstown JED. And that was a very good experience for me, and I think it was also for Rootstown. They had a little hesitancy. Rootstown, somehow we managed to offend them, not when I was here, and I'm not blaming anybody, but they took it as an affront, and consequently nothing happened. But I was at an event down at Neomed, and Mr. McIntyre tapped me on the shoulder, and he said, I want to talk to you. He said, we want to do a JED, but we want to do it with Rootstown, or with Ravenna. He said it just makes more sense for us to be doing that with you, and I promised him that we'd work with him, and they had done a lot of work to get it going, and we brought it, and they bring us in to. It was just a good thing. There was never a crossword. There was never an argument. It worked out very well, and we're glad to have that. Is it going to make us super rich? No, it's not. But there is a cash cow down there. It's called Neomed, and there, for the most part, they do whatever they want to. and with development, but they're, they did agree to come into it. If we forced them into it, they would not object to it. And so they are a part of it, and one of their people is on the board also with that. So I look forward to that growing, and we've set it up for growth is the way this was developed. Downtown Ravenna. Last year we never got more compliments than we did last summer about how the downtown looked. So we set a pretty high standard. So last year we paid for it with ARPA funds, and this year we're going to have to pay it with our funds. But it's worth it to draw people to the downtown area. That is a good thing, and people are already asking about it with that. We also, in addition to that, of course, we planted a couple of trees. I know we had kind of a Charlie Brown Christmas tree 2 years ago, so we tried to upgrade this, and these 2 trees are planted so that they will become the Christmas trees. And we planted as big of ones as we could, but I think give them a couple years and we'll be able to use those also. And we refurbished, we found some old stuff that used to be there for Christmas. We sent it in, had it refurbished, and we expanded our participation with that, which people appreciated. The other thing is that the Pocket Park also was completed last year, and we're already hearing that there are people interested in setting up musicians and those sorts of things with that, which is the plan to begin with. The other big item that was just, I'm so glad it's not over with, but it's almost over with, and that's the mess we had on Chestnut Street with the destruction or the demolition of sorts, brick by brick, of the old Oak Rubber building. This is a case where the Ohio EPA became a very good partner to us. Normally we were bashful about when they call, but they spent their team, local team spent time out there over the years that we've been working on things, and they found the money for us to go ahead and get that cleaned up. And we, at one point we thought the city was going to have to clean it up, and we estimated it, the cost could have been at $300,000 or so in that neighborhood. They came in and cleaned it up, and it was $1.3 million for them to clean it up. But they had money they were going to lose, and it worked out. The timing on it was great, and it's great to have that site cleaned up. It's still in the land bank, and they have to offer it at auction a couple times. And if not, the city will have to decide whether they want to do something with the property or not. But we have to keep in mind that, and council has been very vocal about this, there are some things we want and there are some things we don't want, and we're riding herd on that to be sure that doesn't happen. Of course, the paving of Main Street was the big event. And up to this point, 65% of all the streets have been paved. Now that the big one's out of the way, and that fund initially was designed to bring in $900,000. The first year it didn't quite hit that, but the second year it did, and then it wasn't long till it was up to 100. and I think it's up a little bit farther. We're up. It was 900,000, and we're up to 1 million, and I think we're up to about 1,300,000 right now with that, and we're keeping our promise that we're paving the streets with that. Um, there was also some additional renovation with the library up coming into town. The library gets a lot of traffic. It's thousands of people that come to that. They are looking for ways to expand. For example, the partnership that they had with Judy, and you're drawing that large crowd into town. Those are some of the things we want to see with that. But that building is one of the prettiest buildings that we have in the downtown areas. I have a list of concerns that there are things that we need to be aware of and watch. One of my biggest concerns is the weather, and we all know I can't do anything about that. But we don't know with these storms the way they come across. You know, you were in Texas. Was there anything left down there when those went through? Yeah. I live in fear that we get one of those that parks again, and it's going to upset people. We are working on it, but we can't do it all at once. But I think Bob has put together a good plan for that. The other concern I have is serious, and that's the school levy. And election day is not far off, and it's very important that this pass, because if it does not, the state will take over the system and they will tell you what you're going to be able to keep and what has to go. And we don't want to hit that if it's at all possible with that. But that's a deep concern, and it's hard to have a great city if you don't have a great school, and vice versa. And so we need to treat this as a very serious problem. Now we have a number of things. We have negotiations this year, and it's always been my policy that they went for a number of years with no raises when there was no money, that we share what we have and be fair in negotiations. But I have to be honest with you. I have reservations about making commitments. I know we're talking about a fire truck, and the chief and I got together and talked about this, and I asked him if we could not check to see if we could get that extended so we get a better look at where the way the federal government's being run, whether we're going to end up with problems of our own from that. And they did agree, to my knowledge, to by the middle of June to make a decision on that. So I think that's one of the things you have on your agenda and you have concerns about. We did push it down the road a little bit to try and get a better look at what's going on. What they're going to do next, I have no idea. This also makes me nervous about trying to develop the property for the safety forces. That bond rating that I talked about before, I don't want to see it. I don't want to go back there where we can't borrow money. We had the lady in who works with us with the bond, and she made it very clear, as long as there is a clear track from where the money's going to come from to pay for something, and they see that that track is there and will work, then they leave you alone. But if not, if you're going to just take the jump and say, all right, let's go ahead and do it and see what happens, that doesn't cut it with them. You need to know what's going to happen with that, but we're going to have to do something then with we're going to have to do something then with the facilities over here. Quite honestly, I know there was talk about an 8th level with this fire department. There's nowhere we can put all those people when they stay there 24 hours with that. So we're going to have to look at some things there, and we'll work this out with council and us working together on this. And I have been grateful for the support that we have had, and I'm looking forward to moving forward with all the things that we've been looking at. But I have to say that the year 2024 was a good year for us. We accomplished a lot with that, and we accomplished it because we worked together. Do we disagree once in a while? Sure we do. You're not going to get 100%, and we need to listen when somebody has another suggestion, and that's what you were working on just before you moved out of this chair with that. So we continue to want to work with you and do positive things for the city of Ravenna, and it might get hard. It all depends on what happens in Washington. To us, I like to keep us isolated, quite honestly, and I try to keep the federal government and the state government out of this. And of course, our elections are organized without parties, and so we're used to working with that. To this day, I don't know I never ask our people when we hire them, what party are you? We ask them, what can you do to help us with that? And that's been the hallmark with that. When I first took election, my key thing was to make a softer, kinder government that is available to the people. And this is going back to you again, Rob, and what you were talking about. And that was my primary thing, because it's like with Rootstown, they wouldn't talk to us. But I happen to know Mr. McIntyre from before, and he knew that I would not take advantage of them or downplay to them. They did a heck of a job getting people lined up to get this thing going. So when you work together, a lot of good things can happen. And I'm sorry. I missed it by 100%. She just gave me the 1 hour thing, and I apologize for going, but I left some folks out, but that's available to you online, or will be, and I'll double check on that tomorrow. We've had stuff that goes online, we never see it again. I don't know what happens to it with that, but thank you, and I appreciate your listening to me tonight. The one thing I like about this